Hey everyone, and welcome back to Joy at Work. I hope you're doing well. I hope you are safe. So, what do you do when you begin to notice how the workplace is changing you? How urgency becomes the thing you value most? How performative actions matter more than the truth? How depth and slowing down to really examine issues no longer becomes a thing that you do because you're always trying to provide an answer in the immediate. What do you do when you begin to notice what's going on? We're going to look at that in a few minutes here, but before we do, unfortunately, my team lost this weekend. The men's team lost this weekend to City. City came out with a great plan in the second half, and Arsenal did not have a response. This was a classic example of an inability to adapt to what your opponent is doing to you. And I just couldn't stop thinking about Uda and some other things as I watched that game unfold. But hey, Champions League still there, FA Cup still there, and the Premier League is still there. And then there is this thing about Tottenham dropping, which is sort of like winning a trophy for Arsenal fans, in it, isn't it? So, to my Spurs fans, friends, that other team from North London, well, I kind of want to wish you the best, but I don't want to really. But anyway, let's get back to the topic at hand. So we've been building and working our way towards this recognition of how the workplace shapes us, and when we begin to notice how the way we're acting no longer aligns with what we want to do, and we begin to see that our workplaces inadvertently uh, there is no one behind the curtain like pulling the strings necessarily, but it's a combination of incentives and policies and structures and things that matter that attract us to certain behaviors and certain actions. So, what happens? What do you do when you begin to notice? Because noticing comes with a cost, as I said in the last vlog. Once you begin to notice, discomfort sets in. It's not like you notice and all of a sudden it's freedom, it's rainbows and unicorns. No, you've got big questions to answer at this point. You've got to answer the questions of what am I going to do with what's now in front of me? There's an invitation to respond in some form or fashion, and you have to decide what your response is going to be. Now, of course, there is a response that could be ignoring what's happening and just saying, okay, I've seen it, I'm not going to see it anymore. And a lot of people do that kind of. They just say, this is the way it is. This is the state of affairs. I can't do anything about it. I'm just going to act like this is not happening. And they just jump right back into the way things were before. There's that sort of response. There's a response that is just to complain about the situation of things, just incessantly complain about the situation of things, not do anything about it, but just continue to complain about it. That's misery, in my opinion. Then there's the approach that is just to blow things up, to start a revolution, to just resist and defy everything and anyone in any circumstance. It's almost like Viva la Revolution kind of an approach. There's that. And then there's also the measured response, which is to try and act wisely in the situations you find yourself. And that's the response that I want to encourage you to go down, or the response I want to encourage you to adopt if you think about it. How do we act wisely and respond with a form of measure? How do we survive the system, or maybe even thrive to a certain degree in the system, yet find ways to get control back, find ways to push back against the workplace that's trying to set us up in a certain way, that is trying to make us become who we don't want to become? How do we resist in a way, but resist in a way that's measured and that is wise? And that's going to be something we're going to talk about in an upcoming vlog. But the question for you today is, when you recognize what work is doing to you and how it's shaping you, what's your response? Do you just bury your head in the sand and act like it's not happening? Let me see if I can unsee what I have just seen. It's very difficult, but some people do it. Do you go into all full out militant mode and say, we got to burn this city down because it's got to be different? There are consequences to an approach, there are consequences to every approach. Or are you in this place where you want to really think about how can I respond wisely in this situation in a measured kind of way so that I can find a way to move forward, and maybe not succumb to all the pressures, all the pulls of the environment that I find myself in. Maybe do it with other people as well. So, what's your default response? What do you think about this? Next week, we'll talk about responding wisely, at least my perspective on it. I'm sure people have their perspectives on it. So, thanks for joining. Thanks for listening, for feedback, for everyone who watches. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe. I don't say that a lot anyway, but if you want to just keep following these conversations and have ideas or thoughts, subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And hopefully, as you do, you begin to experience more joy at work. See you soon. Be well. Bye.